For someone who prides themselves in how much I love fold devices, for all the doubts I had about the Pixel Fold, it looks like Google has nailed it and done the impossible with their first fold device. But I'm still not sure it will be enough for one obvious reason and another one which is not so obvious. Here's why. As a daily user of the Fold since the Z Fold 2 and now currently on the Z Fold 4, as much as I love the flexibility of the device, the Candy Bar TV remote form factor, especially when the device is closed to using the traditional phone form factor, it has been a pain for me, as well as the obvious gap on the phone when closed. Google, on the other hand, have gone the opposite direction, which is very similar to what Oppo did with the Find N2, but better because the outer display when closed is using a 5.8-inch 1080p OLED 120Hz display with an aspect ratio of 17.4:9. This brings it closer to the 18:9 and 20:9 aspect ratio we've become so used to on our smartphones, and some may like the 23:9 ratio on the Fold 4, but for me, it feels like I've been tolerating it more on a daily basis than I care to say that I enjoy. What Google have done here with the wider aspect ratio and still giving a full screen 7.6-inch tablet experience with a 6:5 aspect ratio while still maintaining a 120Hz OLED experience and a zero gap hinge when closed, this is looking like the folding experience I've been waiting for. And not to forget, this is legit the slimmest folding phone you can get right now, alongside the weight of 283 grams, which, yes, it is heavier than the Fold 4, it still looks to be very manageable. The biggest surprise when it comes to the build and the design was seriously something I was not expecting from the Pixel Fold was the inclusion of an IPX8 water resistance rating. The curved nature of the design, which looks to be a big win when handling the device, and a matte finish to the back glass, especially considering how Google has been using a glossy finish on all their recent premium devices. For the longest time since the Fold 3, Samsung has been enjoying being the only phone maker who have been able to pull off an IP rating and a folding device, and it looks like Google have gate crashed the IP protection fold party and are proving that it can be done in what so far looks like a slimmer and more usable form factor. Another take it to the competition and show them how it's done is the cameras. Taking a look at what Google have equipped the Pixel Fold with when it comes to the cameras, it's working with a triple camera based system on a 48 megapixel main sensor with OIS and a 10.8 megapixel ultra wide and a 10.8 megapixel 5x optical zoom. The inner display is using an 8 megapixel selfie camera and the outer display is using a 9.5 megapixel selfie. So as expected, we are working with a total of 5 cameras, and they're not exactly the same as the cameras on a hardware level as found in the Pixel 7 Pro, which makes sense due to the size of the Pixel Fold. But Google are confident that these will be the best cameras you'll find on a folding screen Android device. And that is a bold statement that I personally cannot wait to test out. So if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss my ultimate camera comparison test with the Pixel Fold. The biggest one for me with the Pixel Fold experience that Google really needed to do right to give us the confidence that it means business is the software. It's no news to anyone who knows foldables that doing software on a device that is both a phone and tablet with the ability to fold and hold the hinge position at different angles to behave properly and with the right features that work consistently is not an easy thing to do, especially when considering the Android tablet experience over the years has not been the best. I'm going to fully reserve my thoughts and experience of the software once I have my Pixel Fold, but I will say this, it's looking promising from Google, fingers crossed. Like, for all the praise and excitement I have for the Pixel Fold, why am I then worried that Google, who seem to have pulled off the impossible for their first folding phone, has probably not done enough? First one is the price. It starts at £1,749 in the UK or $17.99 in the US. And I've got to say, Google are seeming very confident with the pricing, especially with their first folding device next to the likes of Samsung, who have the Z Fold 4 at basically the same price. The next one is availability, because it looks like Pixel Fold is looking to only be available in the UK, USA, Japan, and Germany. Now don't get me wrong, it's okay, but it's nowhere near the level of availability on a global level you'll find with Samsung. And considering the price, we were hoping and expecting Google to undercut Samsung by at least $200 to make up the difference and really consider the late arrival into the foldable scene. Other things to consider is the inner display, and holy bezels, they are thick. And it's not just me thinking about it compared to the Fold 4, even compared to the Z Fold 2. These bezels are looking functionally thick, potentially for my liking. I will hold my final thoughts until I have it in person, as my thoughts can easily change. But adding to the fact that the inner selfie camera is still 1080p for video, and Samsung still have the advantage of having S Pen support for the inner display, Google are really pushing a high note to sing the song that their folding device is the one to get. I'm still excited though for the Pixel Fold, but I'm still low-key worried it might not be enough.